If you've ever been underprepared for this summer's second big heat wave, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It's going to be Monday here, July 13th, and fresh week to go off here. Now, we do have stuff happening this week here. Earnings season is going to start most notably, plus we're going to hear from the Fed, so we should have plenty of stuff to go through. And you're going to take a look at the fallout from the SK Hynix IPO last week. It's actually down here again in the pre-market. So good to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Monday, July 13th, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. We're back for yet another week here today and this week, and we're going to have a whole bunch of fun here today. It's just me with you today until 13 shows up a little bit later. No producer here today, so forgive me if I'm taking a little bit to actually click on the right things. We start with Francis, who's first here today. Good morning, Francis. Hope that you had a wonderful weekend. Welcome back as we start a new week there. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always, boss. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. Hopefully you had a good weekend as well. Robert, good morning. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Derek, good morning. Zach McCracken, greetings. Zach and to the Benzie gang. It's nice to see you. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. I'm only here for the intro music, but good morning. It's funny, too, because while I'm waiting for it, I actually hum that intro music, too. It is what it is. Daniel, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Brett, always good to see you. What's good? The show, now that you're here, Brett. So hopefully you had a good weekend as well. Corey, it's great to see you. Welcome back, boss. Jay Wild, likewise, welcome back. Whis, good morning. Welcome back. Pat G, good afternoon. Pat G, how you doing after Belgium's loss? Hopefully doing all right there. Who do you got going forward after all of that? Cam, good morning. Good to see you again. Fake Beat, good morning. Welcome back. Jim, good morning. I snuck in 14 holes before we even started here. Jim, you are living your best life right here. I'm actually a bit jealous that you were able to sneak in some holes here before the week starts. Good way to start the week, though, Jim. Sounds good to me. Creation, good morning. I see my K, good morning. First time being early for a while. I see my K, we'll take it. Welcome. Hopefully you're doing all right. Unique Gamer says the market's going to get nuked and then a skull laughing face. Well, we'll see. I will say we are down here. We are up off of the lows, but looks like we're rolling over a bit. So we'll see if the VWAP can hold us here, or we'll see if we end up pulling to the lows. Market's still up near the all-time highs, though, so I don't know about nuked, but we'll see. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. HP Darkside Hemi, good morning. Welcome back. Meetup, good morning. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. We go together in God we trust. That is an interesting name, but good morning. Welcome. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Marionette, good morning. Welcome back. Mitch, good morning. Ryan, good morning, Mitch. Welcome. Hopefully you had a good weekend as well. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Liam, good morning. Welcome back. Bachwurst Amir, good morning from Germany. Let's see what the Bulls can do. You know, I don't want to write today off in either direction. In fact, if we do sell off and if we do pull, I'd actually be looking for a spot to bottom and then bounce from. We'll see if 750 ends up holding. We'll take a look at the SPY chart here in just a sec. Cynthia, good morning. Welcome back. Maverick, good morning. Welcome back. And Acorns, good morning. Welcome back. Acorns calling for another Apple pop and drop here today. So that should be fun. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, let's get this set up here. All right, futures in the red ahead of Monday's open here. S&P futures down 0.36%. The Dow futures down 0.11%. And the NASDAQ leading the way lower, minus 1.01%. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session and get you set up here for today. Most sectors on the S&P 500 closed on a positive note on Friday, with materials, consumer staples, and communication services recording the biggest gains. However, healthcare bucked the overall market trend, closing lower. U.S. stock futures were mixed on Monday as the Dow Jones advanced while the NASDAQ and S&P fell following Friday's higher close. The Dow has since moved to the negative. Late Sunday, global markets turned cautious after the U.S. launched another round of strikes against Iran, fueling a rally in crude oil prices and weighing on U.S. stock futures. Additionally, U.S. Central Command reaffirmed that the Iranian government did not have control over the Strait of Hormuz. This week, investors eye major economic updates, including the June CPI and PPI data, along with retail sales and the Federal Reserve's officials' commentary. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.57%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.22%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projection showed that the markets are pricing in a 68.5% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the July meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one should be no surprise to anybody. It is, in fact, going to be SK Hynix. It was 15.53% higher in the pre-market on Monday after it sold American depository receipts at $149 each and opened about 14% above the offer price at $170 apiece on Friday. That is currently sitting at $153 in the pre-market today. The next stock on our list is going to be Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. The ticker is TSM. It rose 0.17% after posting record revenue of 1.27 trillion won, or 39.62 billion USD, in the second quarter on AI demand. The next stock on our list is going to be Q32 Bio, and the ticker on this one is QTTB. It was 26.49% higher as it's scheduled to report 36-week top-line results from Part B of the Signal AA Phase 2A clinical trial on Monday. The next stock on our list is going to be Occidental Petroleum. The ticker is OXY, or OXY. It was 1.76% higher after the company announced its second quarter 2026 earnings considerations, which showed average diluted shares outstanding of 1,012.2 million and 156 million negative impact on operating cash flow before working capital from crude oil collar settlements. The last stock on our list is going to be FB Financial, or ticker FBK. It was 0.14% lower as analysts expected to report quarterly earnings of 1.15 per share on revenue of 177.99 million after the closing bell today. All right, let's get back. Let's go ahead and share this. Let's get back and check out the SPY chart here. Come on. There we go. All right, let's check out our SPY chart and see where we are sitting here. Now, as I mentioned right at the beginning there, we are up near the all-time highs. The good news here is that although we've really been trading sideways, it does look like the market wants to try and push higher here. Now, we'll see if we have the strength to do that because we are below the high that we've made from Friday with the market pulling back here in the pre-market. But as you can see, we've now drifted above this trend line. And in fact, we're basically sitting right at the high from Monday, July 6th. So I'd like to see if we can push through this here today. That'd be great. As far as a downside level here, I got a couple that we would want to watch. We definitely want to watch 650. 650 even is going to be key. I currently have the trend line at like 649 and change there. So probably 649 to 650 might be an area where the SPY stops here. And it's also worth noting that we have the 20-day moving average not far beneath that there at 744.5 or thereabouts. So see if either of those can end up supporting the market. If we really get pounded here today, we can also look towards 741, which is where your 50-day moving average is. And remember, that 740 level had been an important one for some time. So we'll also keep an eye there on 740. So those are your downside levels. Now, as far as your upside levels here, next one in play is going to be the high from Monday, June 15th. That value is going to be 756.68. So we'll see if we've got the strength to push up there here today. That's one of the areas that I'd be looking at. Definitely want to watch the volume. That's been kind of low recently. Doesn't really seem like we have a lot of participation to push us to new highs. So we probably want to wait until we actually see that before making the bets. But nonetheless, would love to know how you folks are looking at trading the SPY. This is what we see here. Still sideways. Still nothing to get excited about, at least not just yet, even though we have kind of passed through that trend line. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here, see what they think about everything that's going on. And then we can have some fun and go through some news and come up with some other stocks to trade. On the economic front, Mohamed El-Arian sees a resilient domestic backdrop. He notes that the economic data front was largely supportive, highlighted by solid labor numbers in the services sector activity that, quote, remains aligned with tech spending and driving the overall economic activity, end quote. Meanwhile, the U.S. stock market has experienced notable index volatility amplified by massive new tech listings like South Korea's SK Hynix. He cautions that the market faces consequential questions regarding whether recent tech swings and debt performances could ultimately lead to tighter overall funding conditions for the tech sector. Looking ahead, El-Arian anticipates the incoming inflation and retail sales data will test whether the U.S. can sustain its forward-looking disinflationary process without triggering a, quote, broader, more damaging economic slowdown or consumer exhaustion, end quote. Crucially, he expects the Federal Reserve under its new leadership to pivot towards a more strategic, forward-looking view, end quote, moving away from the central bank's previous excessive data dependence. We'll see if we end up getting that. I mean, they kept saying that we were going to be data dependent on literally everything. So we'll see if we get anything more than that. Now, we do have a lot of economic stuff. So if any of you folks are kind of waiting for any of these prints, take notes. On Monday, we're going to have Federal Reserve Vice Chair Michelle Bowman. She speaks at a Bank Policy Institute roundtable at 5:25 this morning. So that's already happened. We also have Federal Reserve Governor Chris Waller. He speaks at the New York Association for Business Economics around noon, 12:30 there. And June's monthly Treasury balance will be released at 2. ECB President Christine Lagarde will meet with Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh at 5 Eastern today. On Tuesday, we get June's NFIB index for small business optimism. That's out by 6. We get June CPI, annual CPI, and annual core CPI data out at 8:30. That's going to be one of the bigger ones. Federal Reserve Board Kevin Warsh will present the monetary policy report to the U.S. House Financial Services Committee at 10. And then we have Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee speaking at a Kenosha area Business Alliance event at 1. We'll see if anything comes out of that. On Wednesday, we get July's Empire Manufacturing Survey, June's PPI, monthly core PPI, and June's personal consumption data, all out by 8:30. We also are going to have New York Fed President John Williams speaking at a Partnership for New York City event at 8:45. Federal Reserve Board Chair Kevin Warsh presenting the monetary policy report to the U.S. Senate Banking Committee at 10. And then Lisa Cook will speak at the Exchequer Club luncheon at 1. On Thursday, we get June retail sales, July's Philly business or Fed business outlook survey, and initial jobless claims. We also have Fed Governor Philip Jefferson speaking at a Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research at 7. And on Friday, we get the housing starts and the import prices by 8:30. June's industrial production capacity and utilization data will be out by 9:15. Okay. Sorry. Let me kick the troll. Sorry about that, guys. Boop. All right. Now, moving on here. Big story from over the weekend here. Apple and accusing OpenAI of using job interviews to extract hardware secrets in a new lawsuit. You watch for this one, man. I don't think this is going to be the end of this. I'd be curious to see how these are going to impact any of the stocks, but I would imagine with a lot of these executives and everything switching companies here, we're going to see more and more of this. See how this one goes. Apple, ticker AAPL, sued OpenAI in federal court in Northern California on Friday, accusing the AI company of taking Apple's trade secrets to accelerate its own push into consumer devices. The complaint lands as publishers seek court sanctions against OpenAI in a separate Manhattan case tied to what they allege were misleading statements about tracking copyrighted material inside its systems. Apple's filing, reported by CNBC, frames the dispute as a sharp break from the company's 2024 collaboration that brought ChatGPT into the iPhone software. That partnership has since cooled after OpenAI moved towards building hardware, including a $6.4 billion purchase of former Apple designers Jony Ive's startup I/O products. For consumer and investors, both the Apple suit and the publisher sanctions push raise the same practical stake, whether OpenAI can be forced by courts to preserve records and prove what data or know-how it used, which can drive damages, injunctions, and product delays. Apple's court papers allege that OpenAI chief hardware officer Tang Tan, previously an Apple vice president, steered recruiting conversations toward extracting confidential deals from Apple employees who were interviewing. Tan is named as a defendant. Apple also accuses OpenAI of encouraging departing Apple staff to sidestep internal security steps during their exits. The suit names Chang Lu, described as a former Apple employee who joined OpenAI, and alleges Lu took an Apple laptop. In its filing, Apple contends Tan asked candidates to bring physical Apple components to interviews for show and tell sessions aimed at pointing out additional non-public information. Apple says the effort extended beyond individuals to coordination with business partners. Yeah. Apple further claims OpenAI asked an outside hardware partner to use its metal finishing method Apple says it had created, while suggesting Apple had authorized that work. Apple is seeking damages and court orders that would bar OpenAI from using its alleged secrets and require it to stop. An OpenAI spokesperson responded to the allegations in a statement to Benzinga saying, quote, "We have no interest in other companies' trade secrets. We remain focused on building innovative technology that empowers people everywhere," end quote. The souring relationship hasn't gone unnoticed by industry watchers. Tech journalist Alex Heath, who covers the AI race and writes the Sources newsletter, said Apple executives were, quote, "ice cold," end quote, when he asked about their OpenAI partnership at the Worldwide Developers Conference. Quote, "Now we know why," end quote. And he noted that senior leaders from both companies happened to be at the Sun Valley Conference this week. Heath added that while it was still reading the complaint, it contained, quote, "some cringe details," end quote. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman added further detail on the scale of the dispute. According to Gurman, Apple says OpenAI has hired roughly 400 people from the iPhone maker to date, quote, a gigantic number. Gurman also reported that Apple characterizes the lawsuit as unrelated to the company's partnership around ChatGPT in Siri, an arrangement that OpenAI had itself considered suing Apple over. You following all that? Meanwhile, OpenAI is also battling publishers led by the New York Times in federal court in Manhattan over allegations that its models were trained on journalism without permission. In that case, the publishers are asking the judge to sanction OpenAI, arguing it withheld data sets and ChatGPT usage records that they say are key to testing copyright claims. The sanctions request points to accusations, that OpenAI claimed it could not locate copyrighted material inside the systems, while testimony from OpenAI employees cited by publishers as suggesting searches were possible after all. The publishers also allege OpenAI compressed and deleted vast amounts of conversation logs while the dispute was underway. OpenAI has pushed back in that case, saying producing conversation records could expose user privacy. A spokesperson called the publisher's allegations false and said the company would keep defending user privacy and fair use principles. Apple's lawsuit adds another front to the same tension between evidence preservation and privacy because Apple's claims focus heavily on how information moved through interviews, laptops, and supplier interactions. Apple's product roadmap has already shifted, with the company's next Siri upgrade slated for fall built on Google's Gemini models instead of ChatGPT. According to CNBC, Apple's complaint also names I/O Products, the startup OpenAI bought, as a defendant. So again, this is not over. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I got to imagine that this is not the last of what we've heard about trade secrets being stolen, brain drain from one company to the next, and how improper it is. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of things kind of look similar. Would not be shocked at all to see any of that. Jay says, I do believe there was a law about this, corporate espionage, LOL, but whatever. Yeah, there are laws about that. The question, though, is going to be, are they going to be able to prove this stuff in the setting of a court? I don't know. It definitely looks shady on the surface here. All right. Next story here. This is going to be on SpaceX. And you know what? We might as well before we go into this news story, let's take a quick peek at the chart. SPCX, here we go. The last time we looked at this, we talked a lot about 150 being a real key level. We also had this nice little trend line that looked like it was providing some resistance. And lo and behold, now we've broke the bottom here. So here's the big question that I have to the group. Do you think there's more downside for SpaceX, or do you think this is going to be kind of a choppy move down, or might we actually make a real significant move down here? And then, of course, how are you trading it? On the flip side, I would imagine SpaceX bulls here probably thinking we recapture 150 in pretty short order. Maybe we end up bouncing off 135. Remember, that was the IPO price. We'll have to see, though. I know that there were a number of people watching for a new short here on SpaceX when 150 fell. It looks like that is the case. And to me, this daily chart sure looks like it's got more downside to go. I think that's actually pretty clear here. We'll see how it trades today. That will be something to keep an eye on. Now, Elon Musk's SpaceX plunged 35% from its record high 1 month after the historic IPO. Remember, we talked about this. Like the company, especially like it long term. I know they've got a lot of ambitious goals. Some people think it's going to happen, others don't. We're going to talk about that too. But ultimately, the thought here is that we're going to be able to grab this at a more attractive investment price as opposed to either participating in the IPO itself or the post-IPO madness, as it seems that some of these stocks go through here. But let's take a look and see what we have on deck here. 1 month after its historic June 12 IPO, Elon Musk's SpaceX is facing a reality check. Shares have plummeted 35.6% from their all-time high of $225.64 to Friday's closing price of $145.30, exposing a widening divide between analysts who view the company as a transformative industrial power and those who fear it becoming a speculative meme stock. Wall Street is sharply divided over SpaceX's valuation and long-term outlook. On one side, Raymond James initiated coverage with a strong buy and an $800 price target, framing SpaceX as, quote, the defining industrial infrastructure company of the 21st century, end quote. Conversely, Morgan Stanley analysts have highlighted a massive $672 billion funding risk, forecasting no free cash flow before 2035. Short seller Jim Chanos ridiculed the bank's internal contradiction, calling the disclosure of that massive capital need while still issuing a buy recommendation, quote, truly glorious, end quote. The rapid price erosion has left recent retail investors definitely underwater. Keith Snyder, an analyst at the CFRA, told the BBC that the stock, quote, started to look a lot like a meme stock, end quote, where retail enthusiasm momentarily outpaced business fundamentals. However, the bull case remains tethered to AI. Goldman Sachs projects SpaceX could facilitate 5,288 Starship AI missions by 2031, turning the company into a critical node for global computing infrastructure. Musk has reinforced this narrative using share volatility to acquire AI startup Cursor in a $60 billion stock-based deal. The road ahead remains treacherous. Gary Black warns that SpaceX shares could face further downward pressure in early August as 20% of its locked shares become available for public trading. Investors are now pivoting their focus towards the company's first public earnings report. Samuel Kerr of Merge Market also told the BBC that, quote, if SpaceX can do all of the things it says it will do, yes, investors are sitting on the most valuable company ever. But it's got a lot of work to get there, end quote. And I think that really comes down to it. I think that's really where the rubber meets the road here. You can believe a lot of what SpaceX's vision is. Question is, how long is it going to be to do all of that? And how many bumps along the road are there going to be that dramatically impact the price? And this right here is one of the key reasons why I think waiting this out for an investment position is probably the way to go. Now, if you're really worried about this, tacking on some shares so that you have them now and then adding and dollar cost averaging as the stock moves to a more palatable level, that's one way to do it. I think that I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to get this lower. Actually, just kind of looking at the chat here, MeDot says SpaceX has more downside. Tyler, you said absolutely around the same time. I was asking the question if SpaceX had more downside. I'm assuming that's what you're asking there. So it sure seems to me that there's a growing opinion here that this is going to continue to move down. We should be able to add this at more attractive prices. Now, speaking of some of those lofty goals, Elon Musk says that SpaceX will fly orbital data centers next year. But as you can probably imagine, Jim Chanos, he's not impressed, and he doesn't believe that's the case. SpaceX Technology, ticker SPCX, the CEO Elon Musk said over the weekend that the commercial spaceflight giant could prepare to build orbital data centers as soon as next year, but short seller Jim Chanos remains skeptical about the CEO's lofty claims. On Saturday, Musk got into a social media back and forth with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman on X after Apple filed a lawsuit against the AI company, saying that it had allegedly stolen trade secrets via job interviews. Musk revived his criticism of Altman, saying that he had taken scamming to, quote, a whole new level, end quote. Amid the fiery accusations, Altman retorted, saying that Musk was selling public investors the idea of orbital AI compute, questioning the practicality of the goal. Musk responded by saying that SpaceX will, quote, start flying them next year, end quote. Now, Chanos jumped in. He expressed skepticism about Musk's claim, saying, quote, and then using the narrator voice, narrator, this week's 13th test flight of Starship is still not planned to reach full Earth orbit, end quote. And that's my best narrator voice. That was Chanos on Sunday. SpaceX said the upcoming 13th Starship flight test would also see over 20 Starlink V3 satellites be deployed with the test. Quote, Starship is planned to deploy 20 satellites, which extend solar arrays and antennas, and will attempt to connect with ground stations in South Africa and the larger Starlink constellation via high-capacity lasers, end quote. That came directly from SpaceX. Analyst Aaron Burnett, the founder of Mach 33, an investment firm aimed at space technology, hailed the launch as, quote, a significant inflection in Starlink V3 ramp, end quote. This would also translate to a global bandwidth capacity ramp, end quote. Burnett said all of that via X. SpaceX also said that the satellites would provide information on the rocket's heat shields. Quote, 6 of the satellites have been modified with a suite of cameras to scan Starship's heat shield and transmit imagery down to operators, end quote. The company had said that and said that the launch is expected to take place on Thursday, July 16th. That's this week. So it's funny when some of these billionaires argue back and forth online. It's funnier when notable short sellers get involved as well. Let me know where you sit on this. Ultimately, do you think there are going to be orbital data centers? And, you know, I hark back to one of the things that 13 has said. Don't picture them like data centers here on Earth, these sprawling campuses that take up a lot of space. That's not what we're going to put into orbit. Rather, it's going to be a bunch of small satellites doing compute on their own and then communicating with the entire array. So let me know if you think that's going to happen. Now, I think the big question here for really everybody, myself included, is how long is this going to take before A, we actually see this materialize, and then B, before we see notable benefit to it. So lots of question marks there. Lots of question marks there. So you're okay, me dot. You don't believe the Elon timetable? Fair enough. Dara reminds us that Sam Altman is getting sued by his sister. She's accusing what? That's crazy. I had not actually heard that. I don't even know how. I don't even want to spread that because I don't know what's going on there. Okay, well said, Ron. I intend to quite literally sit on this on the sidelines. Yeah, and Zach, you said SpaceX 75. I think we're going to get that. I think $80, something sub 100 is actually going to work out pretty well. All right. Now, one of the other things going on here, obviously the memory chip boom. That's one of the big themes that we've traded here in both directions. Now, I had said for a while that one of the things we need to watch is when capacity comes online. That's going to dramatically impact some of the prices of these stocks. Well, this next story here, Samsung speeds up the Yongin chip plant to launch 2029 amid the AI memory boom. So again, Samsung here is basically trying to accelerate the launch of a fab plant to try and make more of these chips. Now, this is telling you that 2029 is when that's going to come online. Is that soon enough? Samsung Electronics, ticker SSNLF, is accelerating the launch of its first semiconductor fabrication plant to Yongin to 2029, moving up the timeline by 1 or 2 years as demand for AI memory chips continue to surge. On Sunday, Samsung said it now plans to begin operations at its first chip fabrication plant in Yongin, south of Seoul, in 2029 instead of the previously expected 2030 to 2031 timeframe. That was reported by Reuters. A Samsung spokesperson said the company intends to start operations at the facility, quote, 1 to 2 years, end quote, ahead of the original plan. At the time of this writing, Samsung Electronics shares traded down about $172 USD, down 8.86% on the South Korean exchange, according to Benzinga Pro. The announcement follows fresh investment commitments made last month by Samsung and domestic rival SK Hynix, ticker SKHY or SKHYV, to expand semiconductor manufacturing in South Korea after President Lee Jae-myung called for measures to reduce economic disparities, regional economic disparities. Under the government strategy, South Korea aims to double its memory chip production capacity within the next 5 years by accelerating the construction of Samsung and SK Hynix fabrication plants in Yongin while developing a new semiconductor cluster in Gwangju. So, again, going back to the main thesis here, as more capacity comes online and they're able to make more of these chips, you can absolutely assume then that this is going to adjust the calculation for all of these plays. The price of DRAM, the cost of the companies that are making them, the cost the consumer pays at the end of this. Really, the question here is the timeline. They're telling you that they're trying to accelerate their plant, and that won't be available till 2029. Folks, it is midway through 2026. So the reason that this is important is because for companies like SanDisk and Micron, even as they're trying to bring on new capacity, not guaranteed that we're going to see any benefits of that in the near term. And I think that that's one of the reasons, or one of the big levers that we're going to have to watch on any one of these memory trades. Now, for those of you that are long Micron right now, because things have been on an absolute tear and now it's pulling back, I watched the pullback, right? This is all going to be about your risk. It was basically sitting right near the 50-day. Let's see where we're at now. 50 days about $900. We're 924 here in the pre-market. So we're still actually above the 50-day. And this is a pullback from the high of 1255. Still could be in possible bounce zone, but we'll see. We'll see how it ends up shaking up. Earlier this month, Samsung estimated its April-June operating profit at, I'm just going to do the American numbers here because it's easier. Samsung estimated its April-June operating profit at 58.4 billion USD. That was up from 37.6 billion in the previous quarter and 3.1 billion a year earlier. The company also forecast 112.3 billion in revenue for the quarter. That was compared to 87.9 billion in the first quarter and 49 billion in the same period last year. So Samsung, despite trying to add more capacity and all of that, they're telling you that they're still going to make more money. At least in the near term here, it doesn't look like anything is set to change, at least not yet. Again, something we definitely need to watch. I'm going to for sure stay on top of that. That's one thing I think is actually going to make for a good trade eventually. I just can't tell you when. That's really the big thing here. All right, next story here. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says businesses pay for intelligence twice and warns that AI can cost companies proprietary knowledge. This is another big fear here of some of the AI stuff. I'd be curious, do you folks, any of you folks that have regular jobs outside of trading here, work for big companies, do you use AI tools? Do they allow you to use AI tools? Do you add any of that company, maybe proprietary information to the tool? I'd just be curious of how people are using this. Microsoft, ticker MSFT, their CEO Satya Nadella on Sunday warned that enterprise risk giving away proprietary knowledge every time they use artificial intelligence, adding that companies should retain ownership of the learning generated from their interactions with AI models. In an article titled The Reverse Information Paradox, which was posted on X, Nadella drew on economist Kenneth Arrow's information paradox, saying AI has flipped the traditional relationship between buyers and sellers of information. Quote, you essentially pay for intelligence twice, once with money, and again with something even more valuable, the proprietary knowledge you must reveal to make that intelligence useful, end quote. Nadella said protecting enterprise knowledge requires more than safeguarding data because AI models also learn from prompts, workflows, evaluations, and the corrections that users make over time. He added that those interactions gradually become institutional know-how and that competitors cannot easily replicate it. Quote, in consuming intelligence, you are creating intelligence, and what you create should belong to you, end quote. That came directly from Satya. He added that companies should be able to use AI without transferring the knowledge that makes them unique to model providers. Microsoft holds a roughly 27% stake in OpenAI and has integrated the startup's models into products, including Azure AI, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and GitHub Copilot. In June, the Microsoft CEO said the AI future dominated by a handful of models could concentrate economic value and weaken businesses' competitive advantages, calling instead for a broader AI ecosystem. London School of Economics professor Louis Garciano described Nadella's essay as smart econ thinking and said Europe may see established technology companies such as Microsoft and Amazon as partners in implementing more controlled AI. Microsoft AI executive Nicholas Bustamante expanded on Nadella's thesis, saying enterprises are increasingly accumulating learning, not just data. He said organizations will increasingly focus on owning those intelligence, or the intelligence, created through those interactions, rather than allowing it to become part of someone else's learning loop. So to me, it seems that they're using it so much that even the means in which they're using it is valuable. So I had asked earlier if you folks use it, C Boogie, you said, yes, I do. Does anyone give you pushback on it? Is it okay? Are you getting complimented for your work? Do you feel more productive, I suppose? Really curious. Robert says, my company is using AI and just in the past month have been given permission to upload proprietary info. I'd be curious if that changed. Let's see. I use AI to check current NEC codes constantly. We have to look through our 1,200-page book. Yeah, I'd rather have AI do that too, frankly. That was a smart move from Microsoft, in my opinion, James. It doesn't seem like you're alone on that one. So again, we'll see how this all shakes out here. Very early innings. Very, very curious. Okay. Next story here. This is going to be on Tesla. Tesla's AI chief Ashok Elluswamy says Optimus has big shoes to fill after they cut the Model S and X production lines. We talked about this as they were preparing to do that. Now it looks like that has happened. Tesla, ticker TSLA, their artificial intelligence lead Ashok Elluswamy hailed the sunset of Model S and X premium vehicles as the Fremont facility gears up for Optimus humanoid robot production. In a post on X, Elluswamy quoted a video shared by the official Tesla manufacturing handle that showcased a sped-up video of the EV giant decommissioning the Model S and X production line at the facility. Quote, big shoes to fill, but I'm confident Optimus will not disappoint, Elluswamy said in his post. Earlier, Tesla CEO Elon Musk had announced on social media that the first production line for Optimus had been successfully put in place at the facility. Tesla's VP of Vehicle Engineering, Lars Moravi, has also said that the automaker could see up to 40 production lines for the robot, owing to its complex design. Musk had also said that the humanoid robot will enable greater access to excellent health care for people, touting the robot as being able to provide for people's health needs via artificial intelligence. Who wants to be helped medically by a robot, just out of curiosity? Meanwhile, the Tesla Model Y SUV became the best-selling vehicle across powertrain and fuel options in the Chinese market in June of 2026, selling more than 38,000 units in the country. The Model Y had earlier been the best-selling vehicle in March 2026 too, selling more than 39,000 units. It has also unveiled the U.S. spec Model YL recently, priced at $61,990. The Model YL, a previously China-exclusive vehicle, was also being assessed for a launch in Europe. So we'll see how these robots end up doing. We'll see what kind of production numbers we get out of that. I'm very excited to see what the robot means. I'm not sure I'm there with the Tesla robot providing healthcare for people, but we'll see. We'll see how that ends up going here. All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're good. We are so good on time. All right, fantastic. Really a quick check here. Does look like the market, it's about at the same spot, but it feels a little bit weaker here. S&P futures down 0.4%. Dow futures down 0.14%. The NASDAQ actually moving a little bit lower, but trying to bottom here, minus 1.18%. Okay, last story here, then we'll do ticker time, and we will also then get all set up for 13, and we'll do pre-market pulse and get you all ready here. This is definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. I believe that I was in the kind of the minority when this first started, but it's good to see that this is how it's going. Cisco president says the future will likely have more jobs, as AI could create more work than it eliminates. So I know that there's a lot of fear about AI taking everybody's job, this, that, and the other thing. They're talking about that in the podcast realm too. I don't buy it, and it looks like Cisco Systems president doesn't buy it either. Cisco Systems, ticker CSCO, President Jitu Patel said artificial intelligence is likely to reshape the global workforce by creating more jobs than it eliminates over the next 5 years, while warning that workers who fail to adapt to AI-driven changes could be left behind. On Sunday, in a post on X, Patel argued that early data is beginning to support his view that AI will expand employment opportunities rather than trigger widespread job losses. Quote, I've been saying this for months, and the early data is beginning to support it. 5 years from now, I believe AI will create more jobs than it eliminates, end quote. Patel said AI will not remove the need for workers, but will move challenges to different parts of a workflow. When AI makes one process faster, organizations will need people to solve new constraints and capture additional value. Quote, automation does not eliminate the need for human contribution, end quote. And he said that and went on to say it often reveals how much more could be accomplished with it, end quote. Patel said the biggest divide in the future workforce will be between people who can effectively use AI and those who cannot. Quote, AI fluent people will not be 10% more productive, end quote. He added that, quote, in some forms of work, they could be 50 times or even 100 times more effective, end quote. He said the assumption that society has a fixed amount of work is flawed. He argued that when technology lowers costs, companies create new products, enter new markets, and pursue new ideas that were previously viewed as impossible. Quote, the future will likely have more jobs, end quote. He did add, but they will not be the same jobs. They will not be performed in the same way by people with the same skills. He said that the priority should be helping workers develop AI skills rather than attempting to shield them from the technology. Earlier, Apollo economist Torsten Slok said that there is, quote, zero evidence, end quote, that AI is reducing jobs, noting that growth in AI-related roles and demand for workers tied to data centers, semiconductors, and energy. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos similarly said AI will enhance human capabilities rather than eliminate jobs, and arguing that the technology will, quote, elevate, end quote, those workers. So again, this is one of the things that I've been saying, that there is a shift coming here. There's no question about that. But the gloom and doom about everybody's job being taken and everyone being unemployed and all of this stuff, that's not how it's going to happen. That's not how it happened with the internet. That's not how it happened with the railroad. There were more jobs created from this as technology continued to advance. And now you're seeing the leaders, including Torsten Slok there, the Apollo economist, leaders and economists saying, yeah, you know, this is not really the case. The key, though, the key takeaway, got to be able to use AI. Got to be able to use it. If you don't, you will likely be left behind. Okay, let's take a look at some stocks. Let's do ticker time here. Again, no producer, no 13 just yet. And then I also do want to remind you, I mean, it's about midway through July, but just to remind you that starting in August, we're actually unsure what time 13 is going to join, because he's going to take a more active role in his kids' high school lives, which I think is great. We're still going to have him, but we're going to end up probably filling some more time here with either ticker time or guests. That's what I'm trying to go after. All right, let me know. What stocks do you folks want to take a look at here? Dara, I saw that you mentioned Velo. We might as well take a look at that. Nothing new here, but Velo has been one of those here. We'll start with the daily chart. I know these moving averages end up scuffing the chart pretty good, but this is what it looks like, all right? So we still have you know, this kind of broadening formation by two of our trend lines here. We have the underside trend line and the upside trend line. We've come all the way back to the downside of the trend line here. We've done a really good job staying above the 200-day moving average. This adds down here in the 12s. Let's see, we are actually in the 12s here in the pre-market. 1298. Dara, I know that you were hitting this in the 12s last week, right? This thing traded almost back up to 15 at that point. We've broken away from this. Let's see if we get some support at the 200-day moving average down here. I'm definitely looking to re-add velo here. This is one of those, though, that I would scale into. I wouldn't necessarily take this as a like a quick strike trade. We've already kind of made some money off of the first initial move up to the 30s. Now it's going to be time to kind of scale in and build a position here. At least that's the way I'm looking at it on velo. I still like this. We'll see where we end up trading here today. It was down 9.5% on Friday, down another 1.89% here today. We'll see if it finds a bottom. But this is what I'm looking at. We got the trend line, and actually, let me estimate that value. Trend line here, right at about $14. Would really love a recapture of that. We have another trend line that if we extend out, this should actually kind of be some support. This is a little bit closer to $14 as opposed to 14 and change. We'll see if we can recapture any of these and hold the 200. That's what we're looking at. 200 down there, 1237 would actually feel okay about adding on that. If we dip beneath it and then recapture it, that would be better still, frankly, there on velo. Okay. What else do you have here? Tur and AMAT, and Linda wants to take a look at S. Okay. That's good. And AGen there, that's one of the movers, isn't it, Crispy Biscuit? Oh, now I'm clicking on the wrong things. Yeah, that's one of our movers. We're going to cover that in a little bit here, Crispy Biscuit. We're going to start with some of those bigger stocks there. Good morning, Lion. Great to see you. I hope that you're over the Morocco dismantling. Great to have you back. New week starts right here. We're pleased to see you. Now, let's go ahead and start with TER. This is, of course, going to be Teradyne. This thing's sitting right at, what is it doing here in the pre-market? Let me actually adjust this. Okay, Teradyne down here in the pre-market by another 4%. Did we actually have news on this? Forgive me because I didn't look at this myself. No, last piece of news here was just from last week, so there's nothing new here. It looks like it's extending its move down. Here's what it looks like. So first support here, Teradyne, going to be 330-ish. I've got this measured here, 328, 329, but really 330-ish would be your next support level. Let's take a look at the daily chart and see what we've done here. Nice pullback here from the highs. We're beneath this 100-day moving average at 355. So let's see if we can recapture that here today. That would be one thing to take a look at. Otherwise, I think you'll probably have your next area down here at 307. After that, and we do have the 200-day down here at 274. Now, I'm not saying that we're necessarily ready to go there yet, maybe, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with a potential recapture here, 355 on that 100-day. And then, of course, obviously, we would need to break this low that's down here at about 330. Let me know. Still at the beach? That's not bad. That's not bad. You guys, yeah. So it's just like some cultural stuff from the weekend there. So my buddies were watching the UFC fight. They were texting each other real late, but I had no idea what was going on. So I don't know what's going on with Conor McGregor. But yeah, Dara, really sad news this morning. Sam Neill, everyone's favorite paleontologist from Jurassic Park, passed away. Notably, also very good in the movie The Hunt for Red October, which I think is the best movie ever made. But in any case, really sad. Sam Neill will definitely be missed. He was in his 70s. So definitely sad there. Okay. Okay, let's see. And then, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't, I don't know what happened in that McGregor fight. I'm sorry. You guys will have to tell me what took place there. Anyway, let me get back to the stocks here. That was Tur. Let's take a look at ANAT next, and then we can do S for Linda. S is in Sentinel-1 for Linda. So here's AMAT, another one in this whole like semiconductor space. This pulled back. It actually didn't quite test the 50, and it looks like it's trying to bounce. So this recapture here is going to be really important. This also down another 4.27%. So I'm not sure if we get these recaptures on some of these high flyers. They all seem to continue moving to the downside here this morning. This is what the interior or the intraday chart looks like. Thinking 560, probably your next spot in here. Yeah, this is the previous resistance, also former support. 560 looks to be the next area down. if we continue to pull. That 50-day moving average is down at 508, so I don't want to write that off here at all. And then obviously a recapture here is going to be that 611. We'd be dealing with the round 600 number first. We didn't have any news on this, right? This is just kind of moving. Oh, we did here. So no, so these are just kind of generic articles, nothing specific on this. And let's see where the analysts were at on this one real quick. What were some of those recent analyst ratings? I was going to say we got some last week. Yeah. So we had Stifel and Needham raise their price targets last week. They went from 530 to 650 and 740 respectively. And then 2 days before that, we had Cohen and Mizuho go to 700 and 650 as well. So analysts think this is going much higher. Looking at the chart here, it looks like we're kind of taking a break. I would ask the group, if you like AMAT here, Tyler, you were the one that asked about this. If you like AMAT here, where's your ad spot on this? Are you actually waiting for this to show some strength and recapture that 20? Are you looking to add at another support level? Definitely looks like the thought here is that this goes much higher. Let me know what you think on that. Okay. And then S, right? For Linda, let's see. Take a look at Sentinel-1. I can't remember who this was, but somebody liked this recently. It was one of our guests. Was it Charlie? Or was it JR? I can't remember exactly who it was, but somebody here liked Sentinel-1. It actually does look like the bottom's kind of been put in here. And now we've made this is our second attempt to try and get through that 500-day moving average. We've got that value just shy of 19. This stock not being hit here in the pre-market, up 0.2 at about $18. So I really want to see this thing get through 19. I think if you get through 19 here, you're probably going to go, let's see, next resistance area, maybe 21.5. Let's see, we also have what looks like, let's get this kind of shallower trend line here. Okay. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking, actually, I like this a little bit more. I'm thinking 22 and then 24. Probably your next levels higher here on Sentinel-1. Let's see if this had anything fresh here. And we'll also take a look at the analysts here. All right, so last week we had insiders selling. Remember, if we think about what Tim Melvin says, there's many reasons to sell, only one to buy. So there's not too much that I want to draw from that. And this was, yeah, and this is probably part of a program. They're trimming 2 to 3% of their position. So it's not as if, like we saw with the Sony CEO, that's dumping over half of the position. This looks like just little trims. And I would guess that that's part of a planned program here. So, okay, 19. Linda, 19 seems to be the first level here. If we can get above this 500-day, we've actually kind of put in a double top around this area too. Perhaps we can move towards 21.5, 22-ish before we get to that trend line. But ultimately, this is what I would like to see. Cybersecurity has been good. We're all anticipating that there's going to be more need for this as things continue here. So, kind of like this one. You got it. You got it. All right. Let's see. What other stocks do you folks have here? Richard wants to take a look at Dell. Here is Dell. Or the last time we took a look at Dell, we had this little flag that we were talking about. And it looked like it tried to break out of the top of that and pump the brakes. Pump the brakes here. So let's see. We're at 427 here in the pre-market. We're back inside the triangle. God, we are right there. We are basically testing the top end of this triangle. This triangle looks like it's at the top of a flag here. We're above the 20-day. That's great. Man, prior to this pullback here, this sure looked like this was going to try and take out some of these highs here. I would just kind of watch some of these levels. I would say if we break 416, we are probably going to look for some support on the supporting trend line here. And if we can't get it, maybe we break out of this flag. That actually has the 50 days down there at 350. We have a gap fill down here to like 313. I really want to see it hold in here. Hopefully this thing can break and go higher. It looks like it's trying. Looks like it's trying here. So this is an interesting one to watch here today. What kind of position do you have on this? Yeah, I can't remember if you have a bullish view on this or if you've traded this or if you're investing in this or whatever it is. Let me know. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do pre-market poll. Oh, we got 13 here. I hope he's ready. I hope I'm not bringing him on too early. Okay, I'm getting the side eye, so I think he's good. Let's do pre-market pulse right now. All right, good morning, 13. First, I just want to apologize. We're running producer free here today, so they're going to let the inmates run the asylum as the producer has the day off. Doing my best for that, but yeah, just kind of trying to take cues here on my own. So hopefully you're ready to go.
Oh yeah, when I show up, that means I'm ready.
Okay, when you're that, I love that. That just makes it so easy on me, folks. This is what we need. This is what we need. Clarity. 13, clarity. All right, you want to start with anything specific, or should we start with some of the movers here?
We can get to the movers before some of them start changing their minds if they won't even be movers.
Perfect. I'll start off here. The top two are the ones people are talking about. The first one here is QTTB. This is Q32 Bio. We talked about this in the A block a little bit. Just as a reminder, Q32 Bio shares trading higher after the company announced the 36-week top-line results from its Part B of the Signal AA Phase 2A clinical trial. So we got good data here. The stock did pop in the after hours on Friday and then popped again on very, very high volume this morning. And it's held its VWAP. So some of these, we see it report something great, it skies, and then it crashes through the VWAP and looks weak. This stock looking a little bit different here. The short interest on this name, 8.31% with 1.61 days to cover. So this is not, it's elevated, but it's not, I don't think, anything to worry about personally. Float, 8.14 million. 13, what do you got here?
So this company had news on Friday that they were going to release this phase 2A clinical trial data for looks like this Signal AA 36-week top line results of Part B from that drug. So that's what we were alerted to this on Friday, and it already started the move. You can see that on Friday in the after hours we had gone straight up all the way to $17. And then we kind of cooled off a little bit, went sideways into the weekend. Here we are, Monday. As promised, they did release that phase 2A clinical trial data, and we are off. So now that we're beyond 17, which when we first had that data released this morning, we popped right back up to, or when we first opened in pre-market, we popped right back up to that 17 area, got rejected. We went sideways until the actual release of the data around 7 a.m. this morning, and then we popped up into the 20s, going as high as 23. Now we're still hanging out here above 17. So to me, 17 is going to be one of our support areas, as is the 65 EMA. What was previously resistance has now become support. The company does not have any revenue, but it does have a good amount of cash, and it's not profitable, as most biotechs are. And the balance sheet looked okay. This wasn't the one I was concerned about. If we go, it looks like $20 is roughly the next resistance. If we break through that, then I would say 21.25 is going to be the next resistance after that, and then 23. So don't know if we'll get that in the pre-market. Okay. It looks like we're just kind of setting up to make that move. So we may get it in the pre-market, we may get it in the regular session, but for now, it's just going sideways.
Okay, we'll see what we get here. QTTB, real quick, looking at the chart here, I don't have much in terms of a fair value gap. I have a little one that was unmitigated down here, but this was really prior to a big impulse move, so I don't feel all that great about that. But okay, good breakdown there. QTTB, real quick here, 13. First of all, I want to Lakshmi. It's great to see you again, Lakshmi. One of our, can we call him a founding member of the happy hour show? When we started that around COVID, Lakshmi would come in there quite a bit. Really funny guy too. So welcome back here. But I wanted to highlight this. Lion, first of all, I saw that you were still at the beach here. I don't know how you're mad about politicians while you're at a beach with the family, but I'm just going to leave that one alone. I will say I completely agree with this comment here. The earnings season is going to be the big decider for the faith of this market. I don't know if I'd use the word faith, but the next direction here, without a doubt, that starts tomorrow morning. We get some of the big banks tomorrow morning. Citibank Bank of America, JPM, bunch of earnings here start tomorrow morning. Let me know if you folks are on any of this. Lion, it seems to me, based on your comment here, you're waiting to see what the earnings are before you decide what direction it is. Let me know if any of you have a thought on where we're going to go next before we get those. Yeah.
And we might have that direction decided for us with CPI coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah. So, well, here's the thing. So the bank earnings are actually going to be before the CPI, right? We're going to get that CPI print at 8:30. We should have some of those bank earnings before that. So I think the market is actually going to be, you're right. Obviously, it's going to respond to that, but I think we're going to have an initial reaction first. By the way, here is a look at the calendar for this week. So tomorrow, JPM, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Citi, Wells Fargo. Is that Broadcom in there? No, ANGO. Sorry, it's just a small font there. So starting tomorrow morning, big time earnings, and got ASML Wednesday morning as well. So a lot of stuff going on here. I'm excited to see. Oh, oops. There we go. All right, 13. Let's keep moving on here. Okay, so didn't have Lion didn't tell me. Let me keep moving on here. Next, I wanted to do AGen. Then we can go back to V. Actually, it looks like this is popping right now.
It's been on. V. I didn't look at that one, but we can take a look at V.
Yeah, let's do it since it's popping right now. This is the other one that we've joked around with before when we've made talking about the Thundercats. This is VEEE. This is Twin V Power Cats. So we make jokes about the old show Thundercats here. Looks like this is moving on a catalyst here. Twin V Power Cats inks a merger agreement to combine its boating operations with US FM's subsidiary in Greenland. Financial terms not disclosed, and combined entity anticipated to list on the NYSE. Okay, so this was this resumed. This was halted for news pending. That's the news. Now it's resumed, up 82% here. Quick peek at the short interest on this one. 1.36% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. The one thing that I would mention here, with no terms being disclosed, something to watch, but there's no terms disclosed there, so there's more information coming. I show a float here of less than $1 million. 13, what do you think on VEEE?
So a subsidiary of US FM Corporation, it's a developer of strategic mineral interests in Greenland. And that's particularly interesting given that there's been a lot of talk around.
Yeah, I think it just started up again. You're right.
Maybe this merger is going to be, an earlier deal than what Trump's trying to do. But no, I think this is interesting. I don't have any other, information beyond that. I'd have to read through some of this, but I think this is pretty interesting here. I don't know what the Power Cats angle is, but this is on the move. So let's take a look for some levels here if we want to spend some time on this one. Let's see here. So we are at $10, and this is okay. So we are at, it looks like 1150 could be the big resistance area if we don't get it here at 10. There is this 980 to 10 area. There's some resistance, but if you look on a daily chart, you can see that 1150 was formerly a support area that was lost, and now it's resistance. Let me see if I get this on chart here. Okay, so yeah, if you look on a daily chart, it looks a little different on a daily chart. It looks like 1225 is the level instead. But anyway, yeah, I guess 1225 is, or 12 is basically the level here on this chart. But it's coming up to resistance area. I guess for using these two charts, my brokers and pros, we're going to lean on somewhere between 1150 and 12 as resistance. That's what I would say here,
okay.
Just, off the hip.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I do have a fair value gap on here, but it is a long ways away. Top end of that is about 625, 623. So this is a long way away. This thing's continuing to run away from this. Jay saying when V drops, it's going to be ugly. Jay,
Yeah.
we've watched this one before, right? Like we've traded this one before. I think we've seen that kind of behavior out of this stock. So just know what to expect. I personally, 13, I appreciate the upside targets there, but I would not chase this one. I would wait for this to pull back and try to form some type of intraday support level. Maybe it does firm up at 8.5, which is right where the VWAP is if it pulls back.
Let's see if we get this 1150 to 12 print. Just based off the two levels there on the charts I looked at. I mean, I want to see that rejection, but I'm not taking a position in this. not right now.
Okay, all right, good stuff there. It looks like that was just kind of spiking right as we got there. Okay, now the other one here, crispy biscuit. I know you're waiting for this. This is Agen. All right, this is Agenus. Maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. Agenus shares are trading higher after the company announced it will raise $85 million to fund its colon cancer drug trial. So, all right, colon cancer, huge TAM there. So them going, hopefully we get some good data out of this trial, but they're raising $85 million to do that. This is what the intraday chart looks like. This stock closed around 335 last week. Impulse move, nice pullback to the VWAP, nice break of the impulse move. In fact, we've done that 3 times already here today. Looks like it's stopping at 550. We'll see if it's got the strength to move through that. I'll let 13 take a look at the longer time frames here for some levels. Quick peek at the short interest, 14.58% of the float is shorted, 5.42 days to cover. So not high on percent of float shorted, but is high on day to cover and elevated nonetheless. So maybe the short interest comes into play here. Float on this stock, 41 million. On average, it trades less than a million, but it's traded over 43 million shares here today. So this is going to have some eyeballs on it. 13, what do you have here for the chart on ticker AGEN?
Well, the capital raise couldn't come at a better time. This company needed it. Their balance sheet is pretty awful. Don't know what all these current liabilities they have are. I didn't dig that far into it, but balance sheet is in the massively in the red. So this capital raise is needed. Now, 85 million. That's excluding any exercise of purchase warrants. So if they include that, if those warrants get exercised, they could get to 340 million, and for that colon cancer trial. So they need that cash. They do have some cash already, but they don't have enough. They're going to need more. It does have some revenue, and its profitability is inconsistent. So I think this is something that they needed to have happen. It's a private placement, so I don't think there's going to be any share dilution there. It does have some short interest, though. It's almost 15% of the float short with over 5 days of cover, so that does meet our metric. The resistance that I have is going to be a couple of areas. Let's go back to this real quick. So we just passed one of them. That was 525.
Yep.
And the next one I have is it's going to be an area between 625 and 660. Or I'm sorry, 650. That's the next resistance area I have. I just couldn't exactly pin down a spot.
I see it from the daily chart, though. I see that clear as day, 13.
And if you even look even further to the left, you can see how it continues to be that particular area.
Oh, yeah, good call.
So I don't have an exact level beyond 525. That's why I have 625 to 650 as a potential range of where we might find resistance. 41 million shares, not the low float that we could like to see get pushed around, but still low enough to make some moves. And with that the capital raise and that short interest combined, it's giving us the result that we're looking for here. So those are the next upside targets. We'll see if they get hit.
Okay. Good stuff there. AGEN, a genus. Did you have anything else on your list that we should focus on?
I originally looked at PLSM, but that has given it completely back. Though I'd still keep it on your radar in case during the regular session it decides to make a return run.
All right. Well, let's go through this here real quick.
Go ahead.
This is Polson Moore. Ticker PLSM. Shares are trading higher after the company announced it was selected to participate in Israel's healthcare AI regulatory sandbox program. Probably want to go through the PR to see if there's any more details on that. Negligible short interest on this, so I don't think we need to worry about that. float 3.68 million. So this is one of those that's kind of right in our zone here. It did kind of kick this back. This is a huge move, still holding higher here by 34%. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, so it's going to participate in a healthcare sandbox, as you said. This is a company that develops portable ultrasound devices. So it's a medical device company. It does have revenue, has cash, not profitable yet, but it has almost no debt. So this is kind of the kind of company we want to see. Great to see that they have no debt, especially for a medical company, medical device company. 3.6 million shares in the float. I had VWAP and $10 as the resistance area. Seeing as how we're well beneath that now, I would lean on the $7 level as resistance. That was support about 30 minutes ago before we lost it. So if this does turn around and come back up, that's going to be one of the big resistance areas we have to get back up through that $7 area. And then, of course, we can go back to VWAP and $10 as the next resistance levels.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown there. PLSM.
And there might not be anything there, Lion. It's just something to keep on the radar in case it does make a move later on where it just decides it's going to be traded again, because this is looking better than some of the other ones we've covered as far as their float and their balance sheet. So we're getting support from the 65 EMA. Let's see what happens during the regular session. Maybe we'll get a trade out of this.
Yeah, we'll see. I do have a bearish fair value gap right above where the price is now. If it moves back to that 15 EMA, that would negate it. So that would be something to watch. That'd be something to watch there. Okay. All right. We had another one that was moving here. It looks like it's moving recently. So I assume that you did not cover this one. It was also a penny stock that's now graduated to dollar territory. Ticker is LGPS. This is Log Pro Style. It is up about 50% right now. Let me see what's going on here. It looks like this just reported some earnings.
And this just started going like before I came on, and it's because they've had huge sales increase. Yeah, huge sales increase. They also announced a cash dividend here. I'm not sure what this company does, though. Let me see. Log Pro Style operates a real estate renovation and resale company with subsidiaries including some construction companies, manufacturers, and building. A real estate development company. Okay. Renovation and resale. They're flippers.
Okay.
They're flippers. I mean, Felicia, if you're out there, let me know.
I guess I'm curious that flippers are reporting such a increase in sales, but this is a Japanese company, so.
And then as I read further, it says that they are also in hotel management and restaurant management. So it's probably just more on the business side that they're renovating.
Okay. It looks like it's pulling back to the. I'm gonna pass on this one. To me, there's not much here. But 13, if you have anything on this, you're welcome.
Yeah, I don't. This one was just starting to go before I came on, so I didn't have time on it.
And Felicia, she is out there. Haven't heard of them. So maybe this one, look into it a little bit more. Not terribly excited about it. The company, the news, the fact that it was a penny stock that's kind of graduating here today. We'll see if a chart or if a trade off the chart sets up for it, but otherwise, I think you're okay. Probably passing this one.
150 looks like the next resistance area.
Yep. That looks good. Okay. Did you have anything else on your movers list? I noticed that EHGO is back. SkyQ is back. These are ones that we traded last week. SkyQ sure looks like 380's resistance today.
I do not. I want to see what the market's going to tell us this morning about where we're headed this week.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And that's the other thing. So I'm going to be looking here for today, but as mentioned, the big events really kind of start tomorrow. You need to mention symbol and name more or post it in the chat. Me, EKS, feel like we do mention the name and the symbol more.
I guess we could try to bookend it more. So when we start talking about it, we'll mention the ticker. And then when we start talking about it, we'll also mention the ticker.
Yeah, I generally do try to do that. But that's good. Let me know specifically, EKS, on how we can make that better. The last company.
LGPS, Log Pro Style.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try to do that. That's actually really good feedback. We'll try to do the ticker and the name at both the beginning and the end. That way we can at least kind of stay on track there. That's really good feedback. All right, that probably does it here for the movers.
Yeah, what do we want to look at now?
EKS. You heard LGTS, and it's LGPS. I understand now, and I can probably do the military alphabet for some of those when there's confusing letters like that. But that's good feedback. Like I said, really good feedback. Okay, I'm going to flip over to the chart tool here. We can take a look at whatever stocks you want. 13, we got, 12 minutes till we open here? We should have plenty of time for ticker time.
All right, let's go.
Beginning and end is a big help. You got it, JJ. Okay. We will absolutely do that. SoFi is being mentioned here. Samaritane. SoFi, SOFI. This is SoFi Technologies. I know this is a fairly popular one too. We've done a really good job riding our support trend line, but we haven't really broke above the $20 resistance area. And I'm pretty sure the last time that we looked at this, I feel like we also talked about the $20 level. Nonetheless, we're still kind of beneath that. Stock is up about 3% here today. Let me check to see if there was any news here on SoFi or anything like that. Nope. And then when do they report their earnings? Later this month. Okay. Yeah, confirmed for the 29th. So literally the end of the month. So we're going to have some of these other earnings to deal with soon. Here's SoFi, though. 13, you want to take a stab at this chart while I step away for just a sec?
Sure. It's not going to be very long. I mean, I can see very clearly $20, as you mentioned, is going to be the next resistance area. And then when we do get past that, the very next one's going to be 22. You can see that from the move down here back in the beginning of the year in January, we started to get a rebound on at the beginning of February, actually. That took us back up to 22, where we were rejected. So that area was support that we lost, and now getting back tested as resistance. Continued even further beneath the $20 level afterwards, and still trying to work our way back above $20. And I still think that even if we do get above $20, it's going to be a struggle to get back above 22 when you have the 200-day SMA bearing down on that price as well. So now, that being said, we do have earnings coming up later this month. If we do get a move through $20 and we hang out above there into the earnings, that earnings print may give us that volume that's needed to take us over 22. I don't know what's going to be in SoFi's earnings report, but it's looking like financials are getting pretty favorable right now.
Agreed.
And I think there could be some more upside here, but those are the clearest of clear resistance levels that we're needing to take out next. And what's interesting is that if we get rejected there, you have a clear support level at 18. So every $2, there's a pivot area or an area of support and resistance to watch for.
And I have 25 as a pretty substantial level above that $22 resistance area if we're able to clear that off too. Matthew thinks that the SoFi report is going to be a good one. Full disclosure, he's long SoFi.
Jay Wild, thank you for bringing this up. V 1150. Actually, we hit 1199. We got right into that range that I was looking for.
Perfect.
So now let's see what happens next. I don't have any predictions from here. Maybe it goes higher. Maybe we come back in, but it hit the target.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff. Okay. We'll go to this one next. 13. We'll go to Tesla. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time for me to go to the washroom here. Here's Tesla. We're basically sitting beneath the 50-day and above the 20-day. We have a lot of these moving averages really kind of compressed into the zone. Really would like to see this break above 450, but that might be a little bit further away. 13, what do you see here on the Tesla chart?
This looks like it's coming down for another test of the 20-day SMA or the $400 level. We're just a few bucks away from there. And the 50-day SMA or the 410 area is still looking like resistance. To me, it seems like we may just kind of go sideways or back and forth unless there's a significant piece of news that pulls us out of that sideways consolidation, or if until earnings happens, which is on the 22nd, 9 days from now. So to me, it just looks like we're kind of range bound for the moment. unless there's some significant piece of news that comes out. Maybe Musk says something. There's news about a merger. I don't know. But to me, it looks like we're pretty much in this zone right now. I don't know until we get another catalyst to take us out of it. And that's going to be between the 20 and 50-day SMAs. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, well, it looks like V said, okay, well, there's 12. We're good with that. Let's go higher. 1234 now the high, and VEE. I want to go back to Tesla real quick. Just looking at some longer time frames here, see if there's anything else that I see on this chart. So we are still having a hard time getting back. It's interesting. The weekly chart is also having the price right in the same range, but with their weekly moving averages. Support from the 20, resistance from the 50. And these are the weeks. Same thing with the day. We're caught between the 20 and the 50 with the day moving averages, and same thing with the weekly. Let's look at the monthly. Wouldn't you know it? We're still getting support from the 20-month SMA, but we don't have the 50-month up there. It's much lower. So, but that's kind of interesting that so I would say that, yeah, we probably are going to compress and go sideways for a little bit until we get some news that takes us out of that consolidation for Tesla.
Okay.
By the way, V is just blasting off right now. They just jumped in the boat, cranked it up, and we're hitting the waves.
Thundercats, baby.
Yep.
Thundercats. Power Cats, Thundercats, whatever.
Power Cats V.
1270 your high print there. That's right, man. What good levels on that 13? Well,
this is beyond the levels I was putting out there. So as soon as we hit 12, I was like, do whatever it wants now. It can go higher, it can come back in, but that was the whole trade, was getting up to that 1150 to 12 area.
Good. And now it looks like this 950 to 10 might be a possible support area if and when it comes back in. All right, real quick, Derek, want to take a look at Oracle? We've looked at that a lot recently. Let's take a look and see. Oracle still has not got back above its trend line here. Man, Oracle looks like it wants to hunt some new lows. We are basically at the lows from Friday. The low print to watch down here, 138. We made across 2 days, we made, I'm going to, maybe this is not technical, but I'm going to call this a triple bottom here. 138. I think if we break 138, going back to the daily chart here, we've talked about how this really had a long-term support line. And if it breaks it, it could get a little bit ugly. I think if it breaks 138, I'm almost looking at 118, 120.
I probably, I think I would lean on this going lower. I don't know about levels quite yet because it's already pretty oversold. We could get a turnaround at any point because I think down here you're going to see some bargain hunting, but I don't think it's the right time.
And when is the RPO count? That's like next year, right? So,
well, yeah. So you have that's just going to be like 12% of their RPO. The really big amounts don't start coming until later on. So I think it would be maybe toward the back half of next year that this might start being attractive again. When we know that we're going to start to see that RPO begin to come in more heavily. So I don't, if I was going to take a trade in this, I don't think right now is the time. It's very attractively priced. But, until we get some more of that RPO, I don't know that I would want to take a stab at this.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And I mean, I'm thinking back to what Mark Petrino has told us. When you're trying to buy one of these, maybe don't try to catch the knife. Wait for it to actually turn around.
And just so that we're clear, RPO that we're talking about with Oracle is the remaining performance obligation. It's what they're owed.
Lion, I may start dollar cost averaging. Okay. J Factor, tell us about your coffee choices. I'm rocking Pete's Major Dickinson's blend this morning through an AeroPress. And I'm feeling pretty good about it. Get your channel title on the screen. I couldn't find it. Yeah, sorry about that. No producer here today. I did not. That's the one thing I forgot. Forgot to come up with the channel title. We'll have that.
The one-man show today. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. We'll have that fixed here for tomorrow. We still have actually pretty good amount of people here getting ready to kick off the Monday, so I'm stoked.
Lion is really thinking the same way I am right now with Oracle. It's so oversold. It's really attractively priced, but I know that the bigger revenue or the bigger RPO is coming later. So maybe it is a good idea to dollar cost average Oracle, but I know that there could still be some more downside. So I think I'm okay with waiting, but I don't think it's a bad idea if you have a very long term horizon. That Oracle's pretty attractively priced for the moment. It's just hard to ignore, but I think I'm going to wait.
Yep. Okay. Buffalo by Bicycle says coffee has to be ground from beans fresh. Anything else is coffee dust. So I feel that way too, unless I'm using like a Keurig or an espresso pod. But otherwise, give me the whole beans. Don't grind it at Costco. Grind it individually at home. Definitely a pro tip that I follow there, Buffalo by Bicycle. So good stuff. Okay. We got less than 2 minutes. I saw Acorns asking about Apple. Let's just do that real quick. Then I'll flip over to the main workspace here. Here is Apple. Big Mama looks like it is trying to go higher. 317.49 is the high print here from this morning. And actually, 317.40 is the highest print that I have in the regular session. Right? Did I get that right? Yeah, 317.40. The other one here was 316.94. So we'll see if we can get above 317.40 and make a new all-time high here for Apple. What do you got, 13?
Tough for levels since we're about to break into blue sky territory. There's always that possibility we could see a double top. I don't think I'd lean on that. It seems like this does want to go higher, and then the question becomes, how high will it go? So I have a guess. If you take the April low on the 7th, I think that's the low. That's pretty much it's close enough. Mm-hmm. So if you take that low on April 7th, and you draw it through the lows of the end of April on the 30th, and just keep that going, you'll notice that this was a support area that was lost from June 8th to June 9th.
Yep.
Okay. So now if we come up to this trend line, I think we're going to hit it as resistance. And if we do that today, that gives us a target of about 330.
Okay, let me fix this here. We're open. There we go. Flipping over to the main workspace. Good stuff on that, 13.
Just in time, too. So 330, that's a potential target for Apple's price action if we get this move into blue sky territory to the upside.
Hey.
All right, looks like V isn't finished yet. At 13, it's got $13. Not taking a position up here after it's been running like this.
Definitely not. And SPY looks like 13. SPY looks like that first move was an attempt to go higher, but it's pulling back now.
Meanwhile, every single other mover we looked at has gone straight down. LGPS
here.
LGPS losing its VWAP. AGen coming down to its VWAP. QTTB getting some support from the 65 EMA, trying to turn around. We'll see if it can recapture VWAP there. And then PLSM not doing much yet. We'll see if it does anything at all.
AGen, this is back at 5 now. We'll see if it finds some support at 481. Also, Apple calls going off right off the open. Apple up to 320. Bang. New all-time highs here for Apple. What a move. Ondas coming into 7. You're going to add a little bit under that. Don't we have earnings coming up this week on Ondas? Let me check. I could have sworn we had that for the 15th. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else in here. Ondas confirmed. Nope. It's unconfirmed for the beginning of August. It's not this week, but it is coming up here in a couple of weeks.
QTTB gave a quick trade there, a rebound off the 65 EMA, almost up to VWAP, but now it's right back down to the 65 EMA again. AGen, that's trying to turn around after coming down close to the VWAP.
AGEN. SPY is higher here, going for 754.
LGPS.
Still outside of the primary trade window, so I got no signal on that. LGPS, right?
LGPS, that's trying to turn around, recapture VWAP, and V popped to 1355 and reversed, and it has halted to the downside.
That's LGP as in Papa?
Yes. LGPS. Let's go Papa Sailor, as the strategy holders would say.
And so Tesla, that's interesting. Tesla did reverse right away there. Looks like that traded higher out of the open, immediately pulled. It's down to the pre-market lows now.
Agen gave a nice little trade on that reversal near the VWAP. It's now up back over 525 again. Kind of going. It's in that sideways consolidation range right now. We'll see which direction it goes here.
And V is halted to the downside. I don't know if you mentioned that. Maybe I'm just seeing that a little bit. Okay, 1157 halted to the downside. Good stuff.
QTTB really getting going here. Resistance looks like that could be 2130.
V, by the way, really quickly, your halt time was 9:31:13, so we are expecting 9:36:13 as the resumption time.
LGPS has resistance at there was resistance at 123. That seller's gone now. And QTTB coming right back in underneath VWAP. A little bit better liquidity this morning, but quick movement. Gotta be quick here. Intel up 4%.
XOM straight up. Oil futures higher by 3.25%. That's in a 73 handle. And then Netflix traded back above 75 as well.
SpaceX dropping good. That probably will see. I should see 140 by today or tomorrow, I would think. We also have we might get our 13th test flight much sooner than expected. Usually after a successful static test fire of the booster, it's about a 2-week period before we are back at the launch pad with a test flight. Now they're eyeing inside of a week, as early as later this week for that test flight, which would be a very, very quick turnaround of just 5 to 6 days. So stay tuned for that. I'll have more information once we get more developments on that. But
Velo, sorry, 13 Velo, also 1260, the low print here today, currently in a 12 handle still, 1284. I barely got out of SpaceX. Seriously, a huge thanks to you guys. Ultimately, you're going to control your risk and your trading ideas, Barb, so be sure to pat yourself on the back as well. 13 and I will be happy to give you our opinion, but please advise, even as sharp as 13 is with charts, we're not always right. Ultimately, it's going to be you that makes those trading decisions.
LGPS trying again to get back above VWAP. Ever since the regular session opened, it's been attempts trying to get over that VWAP and getting rejected.
VG, this looks like it's above its pre-market highs. That's trying to break and go higher. That's Victor Golf, the ticker. That was SN. Let's see what SanDisk is doing here.
Victor Golf has a trend line on the daily. If you look at that, you can see that since March, it's been putting in peaks. You can draw a trend line through those peaks, and you have a trend line that we're on the top side of using as support. Looks like this could end up making a move to $14.
Is this VG here?
Yes. You'd have to look at a daily chart.
Here you go. Sorry, it took me a sec to change that around there. Hood is looking good.
So I would just start with the March 30th high and draw it through the May 19th May 19th high.
Yep, gotcha.
There you go.
There it is. Looks like it's back testing that too. All right, I was really quickly taking a look there at SanDisk. I saw SNDQ pop up on the scanner. That's going to be one of your inverse ETFs. SanDisk, excuse me, ticker SNDK through the lows here now. I would imagine that Micron looks similar.
Everybody's made that mistakes calling it ScanDisk because we've all had to scan our hard drives at one point.
Yep.
V is open and trying to go higher. Not yet at the 1355 high and struggling with V up right now.
Here, SKHY is going to be your SK Hynix ticker. This is actually down from the pre-market highs. I got one. Wait. Oh, no. SKHY. Oh, I only have SKHYV here in Pro, but it's actually got SKHY. I'll check in with the team on that one.
Wow, SpaceX just beelining for that 140 area. Meanwhile, SNK is taking off. It's got its own flight going. Actually, there's a bit of a trend here that this looks like it could go. So if you're looking at SNK, kind of start with the after hours high from Friday and drop to the pre-market high this morning. Got a trend line that may indicate that the price is going up as high as 24 and change, 24.50 maybe. Scam disc, yeah. QTTB could squeeze, in your opinion? Let's take a look at that. Did it have that high amount of short interest? I don't recall seeing that high amount.
It was elevated, but not high. 8% of the float shorted.
Yeah, one day to cover. Yeah. I don't know about squeeze, but it's looking like it's getting ready to make an upward move. The float's, small enough to where it could just move on the share structure being small.
I did just get a buy signal here on the 0 DTE indicator for SPY.
LGPS is still trying to break over 125. V still struggling with VWAP.
Yeah, you're going to have fun with that one.
I'm not even trying to. It just kind of happened. CC is up 3.23%. Another plastic chemical cyclical. All right, let me look at some of these other names we were looking at.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going through the list here too, 13.
So it looks like we're underneath the 20-day SMA on Tesla now. Did we get some news? An 8-seat Tesla SUV for bigger families. No news, but this thing is selling off. I don't know what's pulling this down so much, but something is. What's up?
I was just going to say on Hood, several folks were asking about Hood here. This seems to be 120 seems to be the spot of note for Hood. We can break above that. Maybe we can try and push higher here on Hood. Several of you were looking at software names. I think someone mentioned Now earlier. Here's what ServiceNow looks like. This actually looks like the bottom has still been in. This is up 2.5%. Cynthia's mentioning Microsoft. Microsoft also up 1% here today. These charts don't look like maybe they've bottomed.
Well, let's see. I was just taking a look at Apple because that's climbing higher.
322.45.
Yeah, we'll see if this gets up to that 330 level. We're looking at Microsoft.
Amazon, nice rip out of the open. Same with Netflix.
Yeah, 400's your resistance in Microsoft.
SpaceX, Tesla, Ondas, Velo, Palo Alto's pulling. Let's check in on Sentinel-1. Linda was asking about that earlier. Let's see at that. Okay, so that's actually still holding in the green, but barely.
V, about to it just put in a slightly higher high.
Boy, what a rip here on V. It's time. Registering for anyone that was trading V here today. That ended up working.
Yeah, it does have a nice Hood popping back up to 113. I haven't looked at Hood yet. So 120 is still the tough spot for Hood.
AGEN pulled back to its VWAP, did not quite get it, but is trying to reverse, actually recaptured the 15 EMA. That's AGEN.
Hood looks like it still may come in a little bit more. Now, I'm not thinking that this is going to go under 100 or too far under 100 if it does. It just looks like this is going to come in slightly. just the way the MACD and the RSI are looking, it looks like they're about to go lower. So I think the price could head down. But I don't think it's going to be a whole lot.
Look at this reversal on Hood. Wow. I see several of you folks mentioning Meta. Meta's straight up out of the open here. I am seeing some puts get bought into the Meta and the Netflix move higher here. Lion, you're mentioning Netflix has earnings in a couple of days. Do you have any expectations out of those earnings?
They're going to raise prices.
What's that?
They're going to
raise prices. 3 days. It's going to be Thursday after hours for Netflix. I don't think that this is necessarily going to matter for the trade itself, but the home run derby tonight, MLB is on its all-star break. The home run derby is on Netflix. I don't know if that's going to bring more people into it, but something to keep in mind.
Meta doesn't look like it has a whole lot higher to go before there's going to have to be some kind of selling. It's not overbought yet, but it's getting up there. I saw news about Meta and their Louisiana data center, about how that's like, a couple $100 billion or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
250. No, that's Micron. Yeah, I guess I saw it somewhere else.
Is this it?
That's 50.
That's the 50 billion one.
Yeah, it should be. There's like a total amount that I saw that it was going to.
Yeah. Furthermore, the tech giant aims to invest over $1 billion in local infrastructure improvements, including roads, water, and wash water systems. I think is that what you're referring to?
If that encompasses the entire spend, because I earlier I saw it was like something like 250 billion that they're planning to spend in Louisiana for this data center. Richland Parish. I got to go look and see where that is, because there's also talk of SpaceX buying the I think it's Pear Island. There's a parish out in Louisiana that SpaceX is looking to buy. Because they want to build another star base, an intermediary between the Texas one and the Cape Canaveral in Florida. B is halted to the upside, by the way.
Jay here mentioning the cues. The move tells you how much the weighting in semis have an effect versus Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Meta, which are green. Of course, he's referring to NASDAQ being negative by about 1.5%. SpaceX down 3.1%. That's dragging some of the other names with it. Velo back down near the lows, 1240.
Yeah, IGV is trying to hold above its 50-day SMA. It looks like software might just be, maybe. It might be gearing up for a move higher, but
I'm gonna add some Velo here, small. If this comes in a little bit more, we'll add more to it. I want to build kind of a longer position here. I don't necessarily want to go all in. Remember, I don't think this is necessarily going to be a quick trade. We'll see here, Velo adding a little right here on the dip.
All right, so Netflix. I think when it comes to Netflix, they're going to have to speak on what their live TV offerings are going to be, what they have planned. Because I still think they have a content problem. And if they're not going to announce any, new releases or anything like that, I think it's going to continue to hurt their stock. Need to see what the subscriber numbers like, how many are leaving, because I'm sure lots of people aren't happy about the price raise. What is this increase in price getting for them? It's not like they increased their price and had a whole new library of content. Right. It's still the same library, if not less, and they're increasing their price. So, I think this is going to be an important earnings. They're going to have to really convince investors that they have a good outlook, that what they've got in the pipeline is going to, produce results and bring subscribers back. That's what they're going to have to. I think that's what they're going to have to say.
Really quickly, Monday today, KeyBank maintains overweight on Netflix. They did lower their price target to 92. Zach here saying Oppenheimer has a price target of 100. Lion saying I may be a contrarian and buy a few Netflix calls. You're buying that for the print itself? Are you buying that today, Lion? Let me know. James agrees with you about the content really not being all that great. That's one of the reasons why I mentioned the All-Star game here tonight, or excuse me, the Home Run Derby, although I'm not sure what kind of driver that is. Probably not one. And Derek, I'm with you. I'll add more velo in the 12 if it hits 12 flat also. Said I'm going to be in this for a little bit longer term. We'll scale into that this time, Derek.
Agen finally making moves. It broke over the 565 area where it was struggling. Now it's printing 620s, 630s.
And boy, that was a nice pull right back towards VWAP, although we didn't print it itself. Registering for Agen if you were on that one. Oh, so the whole thing with Conor McGregor is that he injured himself, and there's questions on whether the injury is legit?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The group was talking about the UFC fight. I guess McGregor fought this weekend. I didn't watch it, so I don't know what happens. I'm trying to understand.
I saw a lot of memes come out of that, and I haven't looked into that either.
Yeah,
did he have some kind of an injury that prevented him from continuing?
That's what it sounds like, yeah. And I guess there's question now if he was pulling a fast one. But I have no idea. I didn't see it. I have no idea. Real quick, unrelated, but what does it mean when a stock is halted? Can I profit from those? So what it means when a stock is halted, especially for the case of what we're doing here, Luis, is that most of those stocks are halted on volatility. Now, can you profit off of that? Maybe. The reason that we're calling a halt is because it goes from being tradable to untradeable. And as we've mentioned a number of times with these movers, you really, really have to be careful with them because they have a lot of inherent risk on that. So I wouldn't blanket say, yeah, you can make money off halts. It's just introducing some more risk. A lot of times, some of these movers, like the group will end up buying them, then they'll go into a halt, and then out of the halt, they'll try to sell into that to try and book some gains. But really, that's up to you.
There's a question I thought I saw directed towards me.
Yeah, Dara saying, I know Conor is a bit of a Mongo, but he wouldn't lie about an injury. That's kind of the read that I get to. It sounds like he injured his knee. I have no idea whether if it's good or not, though. I mean, to me, I don't think he would lie about that, but I don't know.
Wes, I don't think I really spoke too much on LGPS's cash position. Looking at it now, it looks to me like it's in yen, so you'd have to do a conversion. But looks like they've got a decent cash position. Their balance sheet looks fine. But yeah, I didn't really say anything about their cash position.
And then EHGO, that was a Shalgo, right? WIS, looks like that's going. Oh, looks like it curled up towards the VWAP, but really couldn't get there yet. SPY, by the way, just back and forth action here. I got a bunch of buy and sell recommendations. None of them are any good. I think it's just drifting to the downside.
I haven't done anything since those first few trades.
I haven't done anything other than add to Velo.
Circle levels. I mean, 60 looks like that could be the next support area. Not a whole lot of support to the downside beyond that. This thing has just been in a steady decline since it after its IPO volatility. Let me see here. Wow, what is all these drawings?
Oh, his injury was straight out of the gate. He planted his foot and blew out his knee. Okay, so actually that's helpful. Thank you. So now I understand, right? It happened so early that people are wondering. Yeah, to me, I'm not going to question him. Knee injury, that would suck. And actually, that would suck, especially for a fighter. And then go ahead, 13.
Yeah, so when it comes to Circle, you still have that 20-day SMA that's being a pain in the ass for suppressing the price, keeping it from going higher. But $60 looks like the support level that's next. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the support level that holds. It is the the RSI is a little bit in, toward the oversold territory. It's not in it, but it's right on. It's kind of on the doorstep. I feel like $60 is going to be the next spot that you're going to want to see hold, because if not, then you're looking at like 55 and 50 as the next support areas beneath that. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. Nikhil mentioning there's a big pull on SPY. Like I said, SPY hasn't looked great for a trade all day here yet, even with getting some of those indicators. We're now outside the two primary windows, so probably we'll wait this out, see if we get a...
Right now, only AGen looks like it's doing pretty good here, and I'd be curious to see if we get a red candle next after this one closes.
And I'm also just seeing on X right now, brokers have shares available to short on AGen. But there is, maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to. Okay, AGen here working though. Really, really good to see. Now, the other thing really quickly that I wanted to mention, I think Liam, you had mentioned that Flutter had spiked earlier. Remember, we talked about this last week. Michael Burry ended up buying DraftKings and Flutter, looking to buy some of the sports betting. This is notable too, because if you look at DraftKings, it looks like a bottom was actually put in here. It's starting to grind higher. Here's what DraftKings looks like. Here's what Flutter looks like. Both of these stocks are higher today. This Flutter chart actually looks pretty decent. Anne-Marie, if you're still out there, maybe we should take a look at Flutter, a Flutter options trade for tomorrow. That might be one to add to your list here. I feel like we don't often look at this. This is your parent company of FanDuel, by the way.
Real quick, with regard to AGen and the ability to borrow shares, I'm sure that has to do with its 14.5% of the float shorted 5 days to cover. It's one of the ones that's a potential short squeeze, so just be careful. I don't know if I'd want to short it now. Still keeping an eye on QTTB. This is going sideways. It whipped around out of the gate, but it's just kind of continued its sideways price action since. Still trading between the VWAP and the 65 EMA.
SpaceX still near the 140 lows. Tesla sub 400, that's near the lows. Ondas struggling with 7. Velo near the lows. Apple finally putting in a pullback candle from its high. And the VIX sitting right at 16 and a quarter. Lion mentioning one of your favorite stocks, 13, one that our group has made a bunch of money on, thankfully. Dollar General. Lion here saying, watch Dollar General for the back to school. That's coming up here and should help. Dollar General actually looking pretty good here today, Lion. Nice volume, nice move higher, 125. Here's what your daily chart looks like. Looks like 127, probably your next spot.
Okay, this is the move I've been waiting for. Fantastic. We've been waiting to get above this 200-day SMA. This is what I wanted.
Now, you want this to close above that, right? You want to see it close above that level?
Yes, but I'm not going to just sit here and be like, well, this is it. Now everything's going to be all hunky-dory. I could still see this, trading on both sides of the 200-day SMA before we head higher. I'm not going to get too excited and be like, oh yeah, this is it. We're taking off from here. There still could be resistance up at 127, and we could see the price still come back in and lean on the 20-day SMA for support. But I like this move over the 200-day SMA. Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you.
So it would be fantastic if we do close above the 200-day SMA and continue to get support from that moving average. I would be happy to see my whole, maybe this goes back and forth, get nullified. But if we are going to go higher, we do have a couple of other, trend lines that are in the way. One in the way kind of at 129, another at about 133, 132. So there's a good amount of resistance still on the way back up, including all the price action from the end of 2025 into this year. The first quarter of this year, we have a lot of levels we can draw on as well. But still, happy to see Dollar General to make this move. I was picking this up, around the 105 area.
Webcoin mentioning QTTB. That was right at its VWAP, it looks like right now. See if this can get above.
Why do you think 140 for Dollar General? I would say that if we get up there, we could end up seeing this go to 155. 150, 155. I think if we even get to 140, I think it goes higher. All right.
QTTB pulling back a little bit.
Speaking of pullbacks, V is also coming in. It's now a halt fest to the downside.
All right. I hope you were quick on V.
Agent. Well, you didn't need to be. Fortunately, you had plenty of time to make your exit. But make your exit. You probably should have. Now let's see here. What was it? Just looking at AGen. So that's still putting in higher prints, but it might be topping out. This is the candle I was thinking maybe this ends up being red. We still have a minute 40 left in it, so we'll see.
We'll see if QTTB can push through the VWAP. I'll tell you what, Webcoin, it's trying, but man, it doesn't have any follow-through strength. AGen continues to push to the upside.
Make your exit, you should have. Right, Joe? Oh, that'd be funny just to do a whole session as Yoda.
Oh, that would be
annoying. Actually,
that would, yeah, I was going to say.
Starter on LGPS. Wiz, you're taking a stab at this here?
Really just needs to kind of break out of this downtrend that it's in.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't look too bad. You could really line up that trend line with some of these levels. I guess that would make 135 the spot to watch for a break if we do get over this trend line, because that should be the resistance that would take us to a back test of the trend line, and then I think that 135 is the spot we'd have to break over. We'll see if we end up getting that. Sorry.
And then really quick here on SPY, Nikhil mentioning SPY big upside. So it looks like we were rolling over there. Big power candle here. No signal though, because we're outside of those primary trade windows. So odd action here for the SPY.
It doesn't know what it wants.
Not yet, it doesn't.
Oh, squeeze an AGen. Now we get the redness. Took it up to 701. Let's see here. QTTB.
That looks like it's trying to go through VWAP.
Yep, trying to push over VWAP. You look at SPY. I'm really taking a close look at that this morning. Okay, so this is the second day of being over that.
Nice job, MeDot, on the SPY bounce. Well done.
We
are now in the trade 2 window, so I'll let you know if we get any more. It looks like it's trying to break 754 as we speak.
We're holding 752 on SPY, but we're still having trouble with 755.
Haven't seen anything interesting recently on the unusual options.
Wow, AGen's still pushing higher. I think this is squeezing.
Yeah, so how about that? When the broker had a bunch of shares to short, that thing just kept moving higher.
Yep. It looked like it was turning around too. And at the very end of that 5-minute candle, that last 5-minute candle, you saw this squeeze.
Yeah.
All right.
Now in CRM puts getting bought, Oxy calls getting bought.
CRM, huh? Still having a hard time with its 50-day. But it's back above 160.
SNDQ on the scanner, NVD on the scanner. So some of your inverse showing up here, inverse ETFs, excuse me. PLSM, this is one of our movers from earlier. This thing, man, what a disaster.
Yeah, right back down to where it started, and that's where it's getting support, right around that $4 area. So
V recaptured its VWAP. QTTB looks like it's testing a 19 breakout there.
Yeah, I still think that PLSM is radar worthy. Just keep it on your radar for the day. See what if there's any turnaround here.
That might be one of those you have to wait out. ACN continuing its recovery from that 10-year. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Oh, Ryan, doing. We got to get this gap to fill up to 153.
Oh yeah, how's ACN doing? That's when I was picking up when it was in the 120s.
Yeah, it's 137, so it's still doing pretty good from the 120 entry.
Still got to fill that gap. That gap fills up at 156. Fill that gap.
QTTB back beneath its VWAP. That really can't pick its direction yet.
Agent's still squeezing. 750 now, which is a resistance area. This could be. Oh, it said okay. Never mind. Just blew right through it. 875 next resistance, and then we have a gap fill, a big gap fill.
More Tesla puts. That's still near the lows. SpaceX flirting with 140. Let's see if that breaks into a 130 handle. Remember 135, the IPO price.
Excuse me. Yeah, pretty much AGen is the one now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that QTTB looks like it really just didn't have the strength to push through the VWAP there. Market pulling too, so SPY off that pop basically took us to the high right out of the open, found resistance there, came back in a little bit. NASDAQ coming back in a little bit. Dow still pulling a little bit as well. Dow's holding on to the green though. You guys are mentioning KTOS. That had news here this morning. Didn't have that on my rundown. KTOS receives a $100 million sole source prime contract for the production of ground-based modular space domain awareness system. Nah, that's a little light on details there, though. Approximate. They don't mention what's going. Huh. Interesting. KTOS. That's down 1.6% on the back of that news. Gen Z Pool Guy says Dollar General at 125. Are you in that, Gen Z Pool Guy? And then SpaceX did crack 140. Boy, that actually made a move down right after it cracked at 138. Lower we go here on SpaceX.
Okay. Yeah, so I think the big thing here is to read into what space domain awareness is. This is going to be the thing that is able to detect, track, and identify all the stuff that's in orbit. Debris, satellites, adversarial munitions, or even rocks, meteors.
I feel like that's going to become increasingly big business, 13, especially being able to track where the space debris is.
Yeah. So this could be big, big development for Kratos. RGTZ popped today. What do I think about Rigetti? It's not my favorite quantum stock. I do think it's a real company. I know that a lot of people don't, they think it's just, some BS company that's born out of an office in Berkeley. I think it's a real company, but Rigetti and all the other quantum names are down today.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's just par for the course for the entire sector right now. It's not just an individual thing.
Micron trying to turn around. This did fall from the open here. It was already weak in the pre-market, fell from the open, basically back to where it opened now, 924. Would really like to see Micron get above 940 if that's going to have a day. SPY, by the way, continuing to pull here.
Agen may be topping. We'll see. 773 is the high. It's finally got a red candle in here after half an hour of green. V trying to get back up to VWAP.
Medot says, I'm betting SpaceX turns upward at 133. So you think it basically goes down to the IPO price of 135, overshoots it by a couple of points, and then turns around?
Wow, we went right through 140. So there's 140. Yeah, certainly 135 next spot, IPO price. Absolutely.
Ed saying, I'd like to harvest some of that space junk. Well, you know what? Maybe if some of it re-enters in the glands in your backyard, you can harvest it. By the way, did you guys hear the ridiculous? Over the weekend, I read a note that people actually paid for bags of garbage from Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. Did you see that? $25 per bag of garbage. I mean, folks, we're cooked. We as a society, we might be cooked based on that news.
I wasn't there, but this trash I have was.
Like, what are you doing? Anyway,
they had a trash experience.
13. You're gonna.
I'm already writing them right now. They're in my head. Just
I know. I was like, by the time we get to happy hour, 13's gonna have a book about these different jokes. It's gonna be awesome. Nikhil says, "What's wrong with people?" Up 30 says it's a mental illness. Medot says, I'm down for Taylor Swift garbage. LOL. I don't even know where to go with that, dude. That's just.
Is her next album going to be Dumpster Fire?
Oh.
All right, let's get back to stock.
I just don't know what to make of that. I just don't know what to make of that. Lion says, we're cooked as humans. Lion, you have been in one of the more negative moods I've ever seen from you since Morocco got blasted. I'm hoping it turns around for you here pretty soon. Tess, oh my goodness. I know. That was exactly what my reaction was. Oh.
Idiocracy is slowly coming to life. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Jay says, Ryan, I'm old enough to remember when they were paying $1 million for NFTs.
Oh, yeah. We were all there. We saw it.
Okay, so I guess, if you're paying $1 million for an NFT, maybe that's worse than paying $25 for a bag of garbage, but that's hard for me to get on board with. Paying for garbage, not part of my investment thesis.
You could argue that garbage has actual tangible value. You can hold it.
Oh, 13. I appreciate you trying to be glass half full here. SPY looks like it's trying to turn up. The S&P futures did recapture VWAP. So maybe we get a bit of a move here on SPY. Seeing some Meta. Well, actually, that's both calls and puts on Meta. That basically came back in. I know you guys were talking about that pop, though. That came back in. Let's check in on Agen. That is still at the highs. Looks like an 8 test coming. Wow. V looks like this is bouncing off to 1050 VWAP. QTTB, that fell out. So that actually looks like this is going to go lower now. That's right at that 65 EMA. SPY traded back up. Actually got a sell signal there. I don't even think I'm going to mess with SPY here today.
Agen 805. QTTB trying to hold the 65 EMA.
Yeah.
PLSM trying to climb over its VWAP. It's actually on the other side of it right now, but it's still moving pretty slow. V, it's trying to recapture that 1150 area, which is now resistance. It looks like there's just a lot of breath holding at the moment.
Yeah. Zach says, really dig the calmness and state of mind on red days / weeks. So Zach, part of me, first of all, I'm still kind of thinking about July seasonality, but also, and we've talked about this for what feels like a long time now, like a significant move down in the market is going to give us opportunities that I think we're all kind of waiting for on a variety of different names. And I still, to this day, I've never come across a trader who said, man, one of the best moves I ever made was when I panicked. In fact, it's generally the opposite of that. So my thought is even if we're looking at red arrows, even if what we're hoping happens is not happening, staying calm is going to be our best way forward for that. I am definitely going to try and bring that here to the show. And 13 does the same thing. And shout out to 13 because he approaches any chart up or down with a reasonable level of objectiveness and just kind of look at the chart and seeing what is the chart actually telling us. Jay mentioning TTD back above 20. Jay, are you long TTD? You think we go back towards 40 with this?
Agent's still going. Not a red candle since the second one that we got out of the open here.
So we snapped 8. Oh, did we ever? We snapped 8 and popped. Damn.
Yeah. Looking for 850. I think we hit 850, did we? 845. So we're looking for 850. V trying to get back above VWAP. LGPS trying to stop from going lower. QTTB still holding that 65 EMA. PLSM getting rejected by VWAP at the moment.
AGEN pulling back towards 8. Let me know what we think on TTD, guys. I know this is one that we've looked at quite a bit in the past. We've had a number of people trade this with varying success. Recently, it's had a huge pull down. But what do we think here on TTD? Has the put in a bottom? TTD. Have one leap just in case. Okay. What leap do you have, Jay? What strike at expiry? Is it like January? Is it 2027? Or is it the end of 2026? Because that actually is not, one leap call gives you a little bit of exposure. And if you get a big time pop, maybe it makes some better than lunch money. That actually doesn't even sound all that terrible of an idea.
I think I would be paying attention to the weekly moving averages for TTD. It has quite a relationship with the 20. We lost this 20-day SMA back in February of last year, and it didn't get back over it until May. And when it finally did, it kind of used it as support before making its way up to the 50 where it was rejected. When it was rejected by the 50, that crashed it right through the 20 again, where it has now become resistance again. So that's where it's at. It's still trying to get back above the 20-week SMA, and that's going to be the first level of resistance. If it does get back above that, the 50-week SMA is going to be next. That's up at 33.85. So that's what I would be looking at is getting back above those moving averages.
And you said one of them was 33.85?
That's the 50-week, yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the January 27 30 calls are 171 by 185. That doesn't even seem all that bad at all. Jay, you're looking at January 2028, the $20 leap. Okay, so January of 2028, the $20 call is like $750 a pop.
I mean, the range.
Oh, man. We got something happening here. Go ahead, 13. Sorry, I'll try and figure it out.
There's a big range, like from 15 to about 33. That was consolidation back in 2019 to 2020. And that's kind of where we're at right now, is in that consolidation. So this could be a bottoming area, an area of support. We also have a trend line. We've got a falling wedge. It looks like this has a lot of bullish signals going for it, but we need to get back above that 20-week SMA. You saying there was a pull in the broader market?
Big pull here on SPY. I don't see anything off the squawk transcription here, but I saw a big pull in SPY. 750 now on SPY. Big red candle there. Anyone that's in puts, here you go. Anyone that's in puts, there you go. Wonder if there was a truth post. Yeah, so Trump reinstates the Iranian blockade. We are reinstating the blockade.
Okay.
That I felt like that was kind of anticipated. Maybe that's a misread on that. I don't know.
I mean, maybe that's why we're not seeing a bigger move down.
Yeah. Okay. Part of me wonders, do we bounce from here?
Well, V said, I don't care, and is already moving back up over the VWAP.
Big Bees says, I'll take my register ring. Ask and you shall receive. Way to go there, Big Bees. Oracle puts. He's out those puts.
Let's see here. What does the SPY show us?
Yeah, Joe, no question there. That was the Iranian blockade there.
And 750 is on the table for SPY.
Yeah, that's one of the levels that we talked about this morning, 13. Glad to hear you confirm that. Captain Cloudy says, likely a liquidity grab. Wait for confirmation or I'll buy the dip. Well, I can confirm that Trump made a Truth Social post, but that's all I can confirm. And the content of what we were talking about here on reinstating the blockade. But we'll see if we end up bouncing from here.
V might go higher. It's halted to the upside right now after a recapture of VWAP. Watch out of the halt for a higher print. 1444 is the current high.
Boy, Captain Cloudy, I'm kind of thinking about that too. Let's see. Sorry, I'm still on TTD. I can go to whatever you folks want to take a look at here. Actually, go to the SPY too, if that's what's moving. 13, we got 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So this bounce is continuing here. Okay, at this point, we're going to put a stop out there. There, I immediately got stop hunted. Well, at least my lunch is paid for today. I wanted more than that. I actually think this bounce is going to continue. I literally that's one of those instances where you put an order out there and it feels like the market is against you. I literally put a stop order several cents below the price, went right to it and stopped me out. Now it stopped me out for a gain, so I'm not over here crying, but still, that's a bummer. If the next candle is red, I wouldn't buy. Okay. We are getting sell signals on this bounce, so it looks like maybe it does roll over a little bit more. We'll see. We'll see what we end up getting. I was hoping for better than that off that big move there.
Yeah,
too early, Ryan. Yeah, definitely. But I'll try it again if we get that.
So wrapping my head around this Guardian of the Hormuz Strait title we're getting ourselves here. It's like I'm kind of wondering where this is headed. I'm sure there's more to it than what I'm seeing here on the surface. But
and you know what, 13? I think that the market is trying to figure that out too, and I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing some of this, because I don't know what that means either. To be honest.
Here's the thing. So we want the Strait of Hormuz to be open. We want the free flow of goods and energy to come through it. But when we talk about being the guardian and charging 20% or having some kind of expectation of reimbursement on cargo and oil shipped, I'm just like, well, that's kind of, goes against what we were trying to prevent.
Yeah, we're trying it to be open so that it could flow. Right?
And it's inflationary. So there's got to be more to it than this. I don't think that
Yeah.
it's going to just be the way it is now.
Yep.
So yeah,
that's a good point on
more
the
to it.
inflationary aspect of that too. 13. It's a really good point. Well, Kenneth mentioned your stop worked. Yet that's why we place them. And I'll tell you something else. You know, one of the other things I've talked about some of these zero DTE trades before. So one of the other things that I've just kind of learned from watching the indicator, just as like a general premise for actually trading this, a lot of the times, as soon as I end up taking an entry, I'll immediately throw a stop out there because the thing moves around so quickly that I might as, even if I got like right there, I got stopped out for just a couple of pennies, but I ended up not taking an L on it. You can always rebuy it. We know that these zero DTEs are extremely risky, extremely fast paced to begin with. So I almost think that the best thing to do there is to just put a stop out as soon as you end up buying them. QTTB, by the way, curling back up and going to make another attempt at the VWAP.
Dara, that's hilarious, and it's a meme I hope to see soon. And you know, I understand, guys, that this could all change tomorrow with another Truth Social post, but you know, there's something at play here that isn't very apparent to us right now, and I'm just, you know, it's probably going to be some time before it is, you know, completely clear to us. So that's why I'm like looking at this and going, this is going to be inflationary, and it's kind of going against what he wants to do. So maybe it's just more of this, you know, he's trying to create more volatility in the market. I know he loves doing that. So yeah, I don't think I'd spend too much time looking into this. Let's just see what information comes out, and we'll go from there, because this is different. This doesn't seem like this makes a lot of sense to me. It might be planned, Joe.
It sounds like from the oh, you're getting memes that are based off of Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy. Now you're getting memes for there you go, 13.
Awesome.
So just stick around. You're going to be fine later on. So it sounds like this is, you know, it's basically the whole like collecting 20% is basically just until this is officially open. Now I'm looking at SPY. I'm sorry for getting distracted. Now I'm looking at SPY again. Here's the bigger bounce move that we were kind of waiting for, right? Yep, here it is. And this is actually this is going right through the 9 EMA right as we speak. Yep. 722.7. Yep, right through it right there. There we go. So a little bit early on that. The thought there was right though. And Captain Cloudy, let me know how you ended up doing on that, because I think that next candle that you were talking about was actually not red. I actually think that was green. S&P futures, by the way, also trading back above the VWAP now. Yeah,
and Jay, that is the whole worry with Oracle. But I think what it comes down to is, you know, is that RPO going to start to offset those debt concerns? And we're not going to know for a while, because we're only getting 12% of the RPO in the next, I think at this point, it's like, what, 9-10 months? And then it really starts to ramp up in the later years. So, yeah, the debt is a concern right now until that RPO starts coming in.
SPY, decent move there. And actually some of the other names, Velo maybe firming, Ondas maybe firming. Tesla, I don't know. What did you have? QTTB, what do you have?
That's back over VWAP.
I'll be damned. Look at that.
Still in this consolidated area from the pre-market, but it's climbed back over VWAP. We'll see how much we get out of this. AGEN starting to turn around. LGPS broke the trend line, getting over VWAP. Next resistance is going to be 135. If it does get over VWAP and close over VWAP.
Yeah, so that 20%, some more on that. That 20% is being charged just to cover the cost of security. So it sounds like that's not something that's going to be permanent or anything like that. Just tired of the damaging the tankers back and forth there. That would be my read through on it.
There you go. New session high, 1485 and halted. And now
I'll be damned. Look at this thing too.
Now I'm being requested for crazy levels. We've actually moved past one of them. That was 955. Next crazy level. Let me see here. Just give me 1 second. I want to get something that's crazy, but also reasonable. Looking like somewhere in the low 30s. Let's say 30 to 31 crazy levels. And I don't even know if we will even see that but that's really all I've got.
30 to 31. Oh man, that you're gonna have a lot of happy people if that crazy level gets printed tomorrow. I'll tell you that much.
Well, because here's the thing, we can go up into the 20s, sure, but then I'm looking at through my broker here on a daily chart. There's a gap. Let me see if that's the same way here on my my pro chart here. Because if we do get into that gap, then yeah, the 30s is where we're headed. Okay, so on my pro chart, it doesn't look the same. Looks like there's going to be a lot of resistance around the $20 level. There is a gap, but it's more like 26 to 30, not the big 24 to 33 $32 gap that I'm seeing in my broker. But yeah, it looks like the 20s, the $20 area could be the next spot if we continue higher. Crazy levels, I don't know, but if they are going to get hit, it's the low 30s.
Real quick, was one that I was going to take a look there. AGEN looked like it might be able to go through 8 again, and the SPY might not be done here. We're about to end 13. Captain Cloudy here, I had asked you earlier. I think it was some stop hunt. Wouldn't be surprised if we go higher the rest of the day. I bought some calls, small size. I made enough on that flush. Okay, awesome. So you use the profits from the move down then, and you're going to stick in one. That's a little bit higher risk, but I think you might be right on that. Anyway, good thought there on that pull down, that bounce back. That was almost immediate. 13, we're out of time here for today. You have any closing words for the group?
Well, this is supposed to be a much more event-filled week than the last week, so I expect there to be a little bit more liquidity, more volatility, and a lot more trading to be had. So let's stick around. We'll see what we end up getting. Earnings season begins tomorrow. I will be back here, and so will Ryan. We'll take a look and see what's moving. We'll take a look at those banks. We'll see what we can trade out of them. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Take care. Goodbye.
Perfect. Good stuff, 13. Good start to the week. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Folks, we're done here for today, but we'll be back again tomorrow. Stay green. And I'll have my producer back, so we'll have better title. Things should run a little bit more smoothly. In the meantime, stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.